G'day guys and welcome back to the JFBS SuperCoach channel. And today what we're going to go through is the midweek video for AFL SuperCoach. I haven't thought of a title yet, but hopefully one of you guys or myself can think of something in the coming weeks. Just call something for this channel, I guess. But basically what I'm going to be going through is things that I will be going more in depth with compared to other SuperCoach sport codes, like NBA with EPL. I do most trading in and outs. I do injuries, break-evens, who I'm looking at, and captains. I feel like it's really rushed. So I thought, I know AFL better than the other sports by a bit of a mile. I like to think I know a bit more on NBA, but realistically, you're not watching it that often because there's 82 games and it gets boring. But with AFL, I've watched every game so far except for one. But granted, I have slept through maybe a quarter of maybe three of the games. So just put that into perspective. I won't know exactly 100% of all of it, but look, that's okay. I still think I've got a decent knowledge with this, and so basically we'll be going through that stuff in depth in the midweek videos. Let's get started with most traded ins and outs. So most traded out we'll start off is with Errol Goulden, 26.2% of the competition have traded him out. Makes sense. He's out for 4 months with the shoulder injury. I'm sure everyone's heard of that. Very disheartening to hear. The man can't catch a break, which is really unfortunate. I was really hoping he'd have a solid year. And if we're looking at a super coach perspective for myself, that's a bullet we've definitely dodged. Because it's really, it's sad to see your primo go down, but it's also not a waste of a trade, but, it's like that's not what your first trades are supposed to be. Is you're not really supposed to be, moving your primos around, unless of injury, which in this case, Errol Goulden. But very disappointing to hear. I had Sam Walsh. It was between Walsh and Goulden. The reason why I went with Walsh is because he's a bit more one-dimensional and plays in the middle. And that's kind of why I went with him. I'm not saying Errol Goulden, that's probably the reason why Errol Goulden's a better player than Walsh in a super coach sense, but I just wanted to be more, safe. I don't know if that makes sense, but with the game that Goulden played against Carlton in round 0, that first half was pretty bad, and then that third quarter where they started to win, he was on ball and they just were flying through. He did score more than Walsh this week again. Actually, no, Walsh scored more in round 0, but still, he scored more in round 1 than Walsh did, Errol Goulden. So, look, it's a bit of pick and choose, but from my perspective, I'm glad that I didn't go with Errol Goulden just because of this. It saves me a trade. But yeah, very disappointing for the people that do have him. Mateus Philippou, 12,900 have traded him out, 10.4% of the competition. It kind of makes sense, but I think people are jumping the gun a little bit. Hopefully the people that have traded him out so far haven't made it an 100% decision on it. I haven't made my trades yet. I have an idea of what my trades will be. It can be Philippou. Obviously, we know he did his quad about halfway through the game where he played against Melbourne. He didn't score great either. So that's going to be in his break-even system for a couple weeks. So he'll be a bit of a slow burn when he comes back. So it's not even a horrible idea if he's out for 3 weeks where you get rid of him for those 3 weeks and then even wait another. Because if we look at, sorry, this is really zoomed in, but a break even of 2, 15K this week, and then he's got the 27 for a second week. And if he scores similar to what he did, it's going to be the same break even, maybe a bit higher, and it's going to be a similar change. 30K, just under 200K. He can set his break even back to what it was. and play even better, get a lower break even, make more money. So I'm okay. If he'll get to 200K after 2 price rises, get that 27 out of the system, and I'll be happy to bring him in. At this current moment, I haven't got rid of him yet, but that's probably what I'm looking at. Kadeen Coleman, 2.8% of the competition have traded him out. I mean, when we saw he was playing half forward in the preseason games, and then he did play half back. His first game was okay, and his second game wasn't. He's got the bye this week, 60 and 50, break even of 22. Can be a lot better. Can be a lot better. I don't know. I obviously can't say, like, I don't want to be too harsh on people's picks. Like, maybe you saw something in Coleman that other people didn't, and it seems like it hasn't worked out, which is okay because I've made that same mistake with, like, Lockie Blackerson, for example. But I think trading Coleman to someone else is probably the right idea. For a guy like, Footy is a good option. I'm looking at him personally. I'll talk about the guys I'm looking at for later. But yeah, you've got to go for either a rook down, like you're going for like the Braden Cook or the Murdoch, which is a bit of a spoiler, but who really cares? But yeah, for Coleman, I just don't understand the pick at first. Finlay McRae, 2.7% of trading him out. You either didn't focus on the teams in round one, or you wanted to take on a rookie score that was on the bench like Todd Marshall. I had Todd Marshall on the bench. I did see some people do it where they traded in Finn McRae and them getting an extra 90 points for Todd Marshall, which isn't the dumbest idea in the world, to be honest. It's just now you've got a dead rook. You're 90 points in front of me, so good on you guys. But maybe wait a week for Finn McRae because he might play this week, considering there might be some changes each week that West Coast makes, and there might be some in the week after once, the Rooks this week have had their second game where they can have their break even lower, would result. That's probably when you can get rid of McRae. Zeke Hewland's probably similar with Coleman. I didn't like what I saw. I think he's going to be a great player, but it's hard to make a big impact on a premiership contending team as a rookie. To be fair, I thought people were overreacting a little bit because we saw how Will Ashcroft did last year. Excuse me. He was a rookie. He was on the wing, and he played really well. He got up to about 400K, which is what you want. But doesn't seem the same case for Zeke Hewland. So if you've got him, probably hop off. I think his break even, 53 break even, yikes. He's expected to lose money. So maybe we think about bringing him in like next year. I know we're already thinking about 27, but next year or later on in the year where there's a couple injuries and it kind of opens up a door for Zeke Hewland. But yeah, Jordan McGoey, 321K on the buy. I didn't like the pick at all at first. He's got a break even of 36. I want to have a look at his upcoming games. GWS, Brisbane, Freo. Yeah. Historically, he's not scored well against Brisbane. And last time they played GWS, that's when they got smacked. Was that it? Might have been. Anyways, fair enough if you want to get rid of him. But once again, it's another pick that I didn't go with, and I don't understand why people did. But that's not, I don't want to sound harsh. You're going to have to tell me your reasons why. Naz, this is a very interesting one. 201 break even, expected to lose 44.9K. Playing GWS, I don't think they tag anymore. I don't think that's what they're looking for or looking at, but Brisbane, I'm sure they put attention to someone. Port with Bergman can. Adelaide, Peatling sometimes does it. West Coast, no. So it's a bit iffy. He has the bye in 2 rounds. If you're worried about losing cash for your primos, then don't trade them. There's no point because Naz is going to be in your team at the end of the season. If you, I, if I had Nazire, I wouldn't trade him out. I know that sounds a bit weird, but you don't trade your primos out if they play bad, unless it's like halfway through the season and he's still doing this. And I know he's probably lost you about 100K. You're going, well, I gave you all of my trust and you haven't delivered. So, look, I wouldn't hop off him, but I'd keep an eye out on him. Lockie Blackerson. I think, now hear me out. I'll talk about this later because this is probably my trade out at the moment. But Blackerson, 62. We can have a look at his stats, I guess. But who did he play? He played against Ned Reeves and Meek, and I felt like he just got dominated. There was a few times where he did okay. 62. 83 Togs, not bad. 66 ruck contests as well. 84 CBAs. So the numbers aren't too bad. It's just he's got a really rough schedule up ahead. He's got Port this week, so we got Vizentini, but he goes Cherry, 1 week early. Cherry, English, Gorn, Wits, Cameron. Pretty tough matchup. So I'm very 50-50. Someone's going to have to convince me some way to keep him because I'll probably sideways him to another mid-pricer similar to his price. We'll talk about soon. But yeah, that's probably my plans there. I'm not opposed with you guys keeping him for one more week. He might do well, but just be mindful that something might happen. To be fair, with Cherry, we did see how I think it was Max Heath dominated him in that preseason match. So keep an eye out for that. Dyson Sharp, I think it's a week too early to say. Like, I know he scored 2 goals. He scored a 57, I think it was. Wasn't a great week. He had a low tog as well. So just be mindful of what you want to do with him. I would wait a week. He might be the guy I go down from him to a Milan Murdoch, potentially, if it isn't Filippo or Doveston, who I want to get rid of. But yeah. And Nick Dacos, what are you guys doing? 1.4% of people getting rid of Nick Dacos. You guys are smoking something. All right, top 10 most traded in. We've got Milan Murdoch. 24,000 people are bringing him in. For good reason. He played a really good game. Small forward for West Coast. 2 weeks ago was finishing his apprenticeship or something like that. Now he is an AFL player. I watched him. I watched this game, the whole game. And I thought he played really well. He brought some really good energy to the game. He got stuck into McAndrew, which was great, or his teammates did. I loved the head rubs onto McAndrew. I thought that was hilarious. But going back to Murdoch, I think he's definitely a rookie we're going to have to consider. Like, not many people had him, and not many people heard of him until the lineups came out. So it's fair enough, 24,000. I might wait a week because I don't see him scoring 117 as a small forward, high half forward, small forward. I don't see him doing it again. If he does it again, then bloody good on you because that's unbelievable. But I want to wait a week. Don't worry, I will bring him in, but I'm not opposed of people bringing him in this week as well. Caleb Sarong, 12% of people of the competition bringing him in. Fair enough. He played a great game last week. It's similar with Richards in opening round with his big score, with Bont going forwards, and he had Liver coming off halfback. Sarong had Brayshaw getting kind of tagged. He also just played a crap game. And Hayden Young going forwards in that last quarter really boosted his score. At 570k, this is not a bad pivot from Errol Goulden to Sarong. If you're not doing that, I'm a little confused. It's not that I don't rate Sarong. He is a bit of a stat sheet stuffer, in my opinion. I know he's a great player, and I do rate him, but I think Brayshaw's a more impactful player. But to be fair, I mean, so when I say this, Caleb Sarong did play well, so I'm just speaking out of my ass, I feel. Bring him in if you feel. He's not going to be losing you money, but you've got to guarantee if you bring him in, I think he's the type of guy that you want to keep for the whole season. But going from Errol, like if you want to trade Errol to Sarong, I think that's probably your best option. As much as I haven't said many great things about overall, I mean, he did score 150, so I'm just playing a bit of devil's advocate here. But yeah, look, I think it's not. I think he's the guy to go for if you're pivoting from Errol. Braden Cook, he looks really good playing against Collingwood's. Not really much to report. It's him and Murdoch that we're going to be getting in for the next week or two. Doesn't matter if you do get him this week or next week. They don't have an early buy. They've got low break evens. They'll be the perfect guys to go for. Marcus Bontempelli's a little confusing because he's got the bye next week. I know he scored 160. He's not going to be scoring 160 again and again and again. So just be mindful of that. He does have Adelaide, and I'm pretty sure he plays well against them, which isn't surprising. 174, 119, 112. So look, if you want a guaranteed 120, that's fine. But just be wary. He does have the bye next week, and then Essendon the week after. But I'm not looking at bringing him in this week. Lockie Jacks, he's played really well. Jacks, I think it's Jacks. 3%. If you didn't bring him in after round 0, you definitely need to bring him in after round 1. He's a fieldable rookie as well. Played well on the weekend. That's the one game I haven't watched so far, and I probably will tonight. And see how he went. But yeah, he's expected to make 63k on a break even of minus 96, but he's a projected 46. It'll be more. It will be more. Christian Petrarca. I mean, if you didn't watch the first game, you need to bring him in. Or else it's too late because he'll have one price rise, have a buy, and then he's about 590k at the forward line. He's played terrific, and fair enough for everyone going for him early. I feel like everyone should have had him. Same with Devon Robertson. He played really well. I liked his game. 12 tackles, and they're all efficient as well. So good on you, Dev Rob. If you don't have him, bring him in. Luke Jackson, 611k. I need to see one more game. And I'm not discrediting the game that he played because he played really well. But, he's going up against Gawn. I would wait a week. I know he's probably the guy to go for in terms of rucks. I'm waiting a week. It could be a pivot actually from Errol Goulden to him. I don't mind it, but just be wary. He can get a little inconsistent, or you'll have one game where he just dips really low and has a 58. That's what I'm trying to say. Zach Merritt I thought he played great on the weekend. He's got Port this week. Maybe a little bit of attention goes his way, but he's historically scored well. Then he's got North, who did do the tag on Butt as well, so maybe it's Foz to Merritt the week after, but he looked really good, back to his best. Less pressure as the captain. I think he'll be decent. And Joe Fonte, don't want to spoil anything, but he's a guy that I'm looking at, I'll be honest. 298k. He's got St Kilda, and I'll talk to you why I'm interested. But yeah. I think he's a decent option to go from Blackerson to him. So that's the most traded ins and outs for that one. Let's have a look at injuries. So with injuries, I think what we're going to do is we are just going to go player by player. I think we've got it on SuperCoach Plus, but if we can't see guys that we haven't seen, we'll have a look. So, was there most recent? No, there's no. Okay, cool. So, obviously, Harris Andrews was suspended. He's back round 5. Adam Sard did his hamstring. I think it was opening round, which is unfortunate. Warple and Logan Morris to be assessed. We don't know when they'll be back. Zach Bailey suspension. He'll be back not this round but the next. And we've got Rowan Marshall, who's expected to come back this round or next, probably the upcoming round. We got Artie Jones and Jordan Croft probably coming back next week or this week. Darcy Gardner's available for round 4. Obviously, they've got the bye this week. Hugh McCluggage is also expected to be back after the bye. Rao, 5 to 7 weeks. Is there anyone else new that... Nick Gloston's supposed to come back this week, which is nice. What's this question mark? Hamstring. Okay, subject to fitness. Is there anyone else that I can see that's like going to be soon? As in, did get injured? So I haven't really mentioned that yet, which is annoying. I don't think they do, which is, yeah, very annoying. So I was trying to have a look at, do the easy way out and check, AI and tell me all of it. But apparently the 15 other teams haven't bloody updated it, which that makes so much sense. So we'll talk about some of the relevant players that are injured or suspended. Let's have a look. Mateus Filippo. So we mentioned he's got that quad injury. I'm okay to let go of him because he can have that 27 in his system for 2 weeks. He'll have a very slow burn for those next 2, and then I reckon he'll make some cash then. So it's okay to hop off on him, but I'm going to stay because I don't like Doverston on my team. Todd Marshall, another guy that did get injured towards the end of the game. He scored a 90, very close to the ton if he played the rest of the game. He looks really comfortable down back. If he's out for just this, he's apparently just a test. So depending on this week, he'll either be on the bench or he's playing. I'm not getting rid of him because if he's not playing this week, he's most definitely playing next week. Errol Goulden, we've already talked about. He's out for 4 months, which is really unfortunate. Anyone else? I mean, Scott Pendlebury might be suspended. As of the time of recording, we don't know of yet. So we'll find out soon, I'm sure. Noah Anderson had a head knock towards the end of the season. End of the round, or the game. Didn't go back on, I think it was the last 10 minutes or something like that. But it seems that he seems to be okay and not affected. So good news for the 19.6% of views that had him. Anyone else that's here that has injury concern that is SuperCoach relevant, to be more specific? Seems like Sid Draper's back. God, how Archie Roberts been stitched up by one of the Scott brothers, Brad. I don't think there's anyone else. It's actually not a bad round. I did see that Riley Thilthorpe's a test for his lower back, I think it was, but not very SuperCoach relevant at the moment. But yeah, those are the very SuperCoach relevant guys. I'll be more prepared of who I remember who's been injured or not. I mean, I can check the AFL app now and see if it says that, Errol Goulden was out, because normally it says on the app there, as my phone wants to load really slow. Come on, phone. You can do it. All right. Players. Sorry, you're probably just watching this and going far out. Yeah, okay. So it does say that he was out. So maybe I need to have a look at that next week. Just a new bit of an improvement, I guess. Also, Isaac Heaney's another one. If you wanted to pivot to him, probably not the guy to go for anymore because he might be out, but he's also a test. All right, let's have a look at some break evens. Lots of guys on a very high break even or low break even, shall I say. Look, something that I thought we've picked very well with rookies. We haven't made too many stuff ups, which is good. As you can see, like Murdoch, no one really knew. But, most people had Smith, excuse me, Jux, Sarong, Dev Rob, Leo Lombard, Carol Bruin, McAndrew, Butterick, all with low break evens, expected to make lots of money for us. Obviously, Todd Marshall and Blue Myers, Josh Lindsay as well, to another mention, and Sam Grill, Dyson Sharp, I guess. But so we've actually done really well. Guys like Milan Murdoch and Braden Cook are guys that I'm looking at. Joe Fonte, I'm looking at kind of spoiled, who I'm looking at for this week. But yeah, these break evens are really nice. I want to see what's your expected money? 63K, and I reckon it'll be more. I reckon it'd be more like 80K. So very nice there. If you don't have these guys, it's not too late to jump on them, but yeah. But it's kind of hard to really talk about break evens. I mean, I said this about Selwood last week, and I mentioned this in my review video, I think. With Selwood, like, I don't see the value in here because he only had 10 disposals. He had 10 disposals first week, scored a 78, 9 disposals last week, scored a 38. So very different scores. It was 73. Was it 73? And yeah, I don't know. But I called it, and I'll take that to the grave, I guess. But there really isn't many other options. I mean, Phoenix Gothard's probably not making enough money compared to the rest. Ned Reeves is going to be an interesting one to watch. Do they drop Meek at some point? That would be funny. But goes up against Grundy, which will be a nice challenge for him. Dylan Stevens, he had a cracking game of 135 against Port. Jack Watkins, I think he just goes straight out once Ollie Wines comes back. Riley Bice, a legend from last year, potentially will make more money this year. Average of 96. He's projected to make, was it 35 or 36, 35K. Dersma, I said this at the review. Wouldn't be mad if you had him. -1's okay. So you're just probably asking for another 78 game from him. Is there anyone else? Jake Riccardi's interesting. Mitch Edwards as well is interesting. Dudley, he had a good game, I thought. Look at that. Oliver Florent, my man. Even though he plays for Carlton. Max Hall played an outstanding game. Nick Watson as well with a 10. What could he make? Only 22K, so not that much. But there really isn't much more because now we get into the DMPs here. But yeah, those are the break-even guys. The guys that you probably... I mean, I'm talking it from a perspective of, like, I've got all these guys. Like, obviously 2% of the comp didn't have Dev Rob, but will now. But, obviously go for Smith if you don't. Not that I think you wouldn't. Same with Jux as well. Sarong, Dev Rob, Lombard, Carol Bruin, McAndrew, Butterick. Like, I think most people have these guys. But like I said, Murdoch, Fonte, Braden Cook, those are the guys that I'm looking at and potentially will make us some good cash compared to others. I think most players at this bracket, mind you, like Gothard's expected to make 25K, or might be around 30, 40. You got guys like, oh wow, Reville's got a -13. Thought it'd be a bit higher, but that's all right. Other guys that I'm thinking of, like a Jake, oh no, not really. Like a Malcolm Rosas. Like, no one's really going for Rosas. Expects to make 38.5K. He'll do it for, I reckon, 1 or 2 weeks, and then his cash gen just drops off. So look, just be careful who you're going with as well. I think that's going to be the same with Michael Selwood, personally. But yeah, Murdoch and where's Cook? Can't find him. There he is. Looking good. So that's what that kind of leads into who I'm looking for. So, who I'm looking at. So if we look at my squad, I've done my trades already, not completely confirmed, but it's kind of confirmed that Fonte, Cook, and Murdoch for me is who I want. It's just, am I getting them? I'm not getting them all at the same time. So, and this is the other thing. If Filippo doesn't play, I'm trading him. But if he is playing or is only out for a week, Dubberston, you're out. And Blackiston too. We can move you there and you there. Okay, I wanted you to move to... Okay, that's not going to work. But I wanted to bring in Braden Cook first off. And then bring on the Font. That was what I was... Like, these are the guys I'm looking at. Fonte and Cook. I'm only doing this because Fonte, whose average day 83 so far, is it? Or 101 technically, but let's refresh this because of the SuperCoach projector, which is very good. Chrome, it's a Chrome web store add-on. But yeah, Fonte, if he does 80, let's say 85, St Kilda as well, who gave Josh Dacos 134. If he goes 85, or let's just go 80, and he goes 90 against you, 90 against Richmond, he's looking at getting to 400k just after Richmond. And I'm okay with selling him then because I find another rookie, maybe a Dyson Sharp, a guy that I want to hop off early, a Mateus Philippou, a Lombard potentially, who I don't think might make a lot of cash early on, to a rookie and to a primo, and I can probably look at it. I'd say Dan Houston, but he seems like he's going to be making money. Maybe not Houston. Maybe a midfielder. Maybe we think of... I can't think of the top of my head, but he'll be someone that we look at there. I think who you look for early on is definitely going to be guys with low break-evens. Who's going to make you cash? Zacko Stelsey could be an option as well for next week. It's either Murdoch or Cook this week and then get the other one next week. It's not a big deal for me. I don't want to waste a boost yet. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. And there's really not anyone else that's intriguing me. We'll go back to the summary. But if we have a look, Luke Parker could be an option, if he's still playing down back and averaging that much. Like an Ed Richards wouldn't be too bad, I guess. Noah Anderson a couple weeks. Yeah. Some interesting choices to choose. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go. I think, as far as I'm concerned, that's what I'm going to go with for the week. Definitely Blackest. I try to find a way where it would be Filippo straight to Fonte, but it just won't work out. So I think it's a Blackiston play to Fontenpelli. I keep saying Fontenpelli like it's his name, but still have us 44k there. I do want to get rid of you, so maybe we do get rid of Dobberson. We can move Butterick there, and then it's just basically who do we choose out of out of Braden Cook or Murdoch. I'm going to go with Cook because I think his role is a little bit better, and I can see him scoring a 90 again. It gives me a week to go. Well, let's trade Carroll or Sharp down to Murdoch, who'll be making more money. Or if there's a forward like Philippou, if he's injured, then he'll be out. instead of Dobberston. But that's probably what my plans are there. I won't confirm them just yet. But yeah. At last, I think I was about to say it last but not least, but I reckon I kind of want to keep talking about I mentioned it before, but you want to go for guys that are going to be there making you money each week. Blackiston hasn't gone off to a ripper start, so he might be a slow burn at first. And I know that might be a bit of a bad play, but there's really not many options for me. Like, I know Brayshaw scored his 47. I could rage trade him right now, but I'm not going to. But I'm pretty okay with what my team looks at the moment with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 keepers. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 keepers. Fonty could easily be our first upgrade going to our next primo. Just depends on who it's going to be. Who would I prefer it to be? Probably, don't want to sideways it to. We could wait, I guess, another week for Whitfield and Naz's price to go down, or if Houston's just putting on a tear at Collingwood, then we could do him as well and have 3 Collingwood players. But then I kind of don't want Dacos. But yeah, we'll see how that goes with what my decision is. But I think definitely Blackiston is out and either Filippo, Doverston out now. It's just I need to get rid of a mid. No, I don't actually. If I just trade Blackiston, move Grill up, and then Murdoch goes there, Cook and someone else can be there. So Fonty probably. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for my looks for the round. But let's have a look at captain options. So this week, let's just optimize, for example. We look at my squad. I've got 6 there, 7th with Lindsay. Can only do 7 out of 8 in the midfield. I've got too many Carlton and Collingwood Geelong players. Obviously, these 3 as well. Not many down here. So the good thing about these buys is that you can easily loop a lot easier. So obviously, if you don't know how to loop, you just put your captain on a guy that's not playing. So if this was a week with no buys, I'd do it on Kalani White. Make sure you've got the emergency on Lockie McAndrew. Won't do that, though. We'll keep the captain on Dacos. But with buys, they have the captaincy on them for the whole round. So if you're vice captain of, who would it be? Hawthorn, Sydney. Can't really think of anyone at the moment. Adelaide Dogs, you can definitely do a Bontempelli. Obviously, with his good track run against Adelaide, not a bad option there. But I think a big option here is Noah Anderson, Petrarca as your VC there. GWS St Kilda. I mean, Sinclair's an option, but I would rather VC Petrarca against Richmond because we know what he did against West Coast, and I think they're going to do that too. I think that's what Gold Coast is going to do that to us this week. Just absolutely smash us out of the park. And then Freo Melbourne. I mean, Brayshaw, Sarong, even Luke Jackson could be a VC option. You could go an interesting play of Tim English in the ruck against Adelaide, against Lockie McAndrew. That'll be an interesting watch. That could be a bit of a point of difference for your vice captaincy. And then we roll over to Sunday. You've got Port and Essendon. You obviously have got Butters and you've got Rosé. I think those are your main guys that you would love to have. And then West Coast North. Sheasel loves to play West Coast, I believe. 137, 122, 129. Pretty solid there. He's played well against Essendon as well. So remember what you're doing. I think my vice captain is going to be Petrarca if he doesn't score more than 130, because I gave up bloody Dacos's 126 to Butters' 94. If Petrarca scores 130 more, I will keep him as my captain for the week. If not, I'm going to try and keep my calm and go with Butters and have a stress-free weekend. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me. That's we've covered a lot of topics. I've recorded for about I did it in 2 recordings because I tried to search up the injuries, but far out. It's been a long video, that's for sure. If you made it this far, shout out to you. You just listened to me out for a whole nearly an hour. I'm very excited for round 2. I'll give you my preview video tomorrow night, and you guys check it out and see how you feel, what my team is going to look like. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Hopefully, you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.